This is your Olympic hero and former WWE champion, Kurt Angle. And I just wanted to give a shout out to my guys, Clint and Noah. When it comes to covering sports, there is no one better. And believe me, that's true. It's damn true.
Get stealing, woo, wheeling, dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun.
I am the best in the world at what I do.
Gentlemen, you are the top 1%. The elite. Best of the best.
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
You are now listening to the Elite Sports Podcast, brought to you by Mo Sports in Liberty, the pinnacle of hard-hitting sports talk, featuring weekly expert analysis and top-notch interviews. And now, please welcome your hosts, Clint Switzer and Noah Groninger.
Welcome into the Elite Sports Podcast. I'm Noah Groninger alongside Clint Switzer. And Clint, normally we would be getting ready for SEC Media Days, the college and NFL football seasons. But this season, if there's no fans, Fox Sports has said that they're going to pump in crowd noise and digitize fans, something that the Los Angeles Chargers and previously the San Diego Chargers have needed all along.
Yeah, what a crazy time we live in. Instead of talking about our upcoming appearance at SEC Media Days, getting ready to really kick off the season here this summer as we are kind of heading out of spring football, at least in the college realm. Here, now we're starting to look at things like, well, 6 NFL teams have released new uniforms in the offseason. We're almost a month removed from the draft, and we're talking about digitizing fans and piping in crowd noise. Noah, this is not the world that I signed up to live in 36 years ago.
No, if people would have told me or shown me post-coronavirus uniforms, I would have been like, so this virus takes out all of our creativity, all of our common sense, and we're just throwing up on these uniforms and getting them out there. These new Rams ones, the recent ones that came out, the bone on bone, and apparently that color is supposed to represent the color of an actual ram's horn, and it looks awful. It's not white, it's not gray, it's bone.
You can't even say that word without it sounding ridiculous. In fact, I hearken back to Patrick Bateman from American Psycho talking about his business card being bone and the font being silly and rail. I don't know what the hell the font is on the Rams road jersey, but it might be silly and rail. It's something that's extremely non-pleasing to the eye. I don't know what's going on with these uniforms. We've had 6 teams release new uniforms here in the past, 6 to 8 weeks, and I hate all of them. I mean, people talk about, well, the Browns, they really knocked it out of the park. Well, the Browns have the worst colors in all of sports, and yay, they went back to the 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, with Bernie Kosar and Ernest Biner, and that wasn't that hard to do. I don't really understand why that would even need to be praised. Meanwhile, we have teams like the Falcons. We talked about the Rams, the Patriots, the Chargers. Everybody's all up in arms about the Chargers wins, hailing them as the best ones of the offseason. But I don't even like most of those combos. So I don't know where I am with this. I think uniform changes. I'm a uniform guy, so I really look into this stuff. You look at the shoulders and the piping on the pants, all that stuff. It's like these are representation of the NFL, of the city that they're playing in, and a lot of times it doesn't do it for me, and it makes you kind of happy that you live in a place like Kansas City. If you're in Kansas City, Las Vegas, Green Bay, well, you've got it made because your uniforms are never changing and they're identifiable and they're already amazing.
Yeah, Pittsburgh as well. Hopefully they don't do any drastic changes because it's just so classic and goes back to tradition. But we're talking about some of these new uniforms. The Falcons and the Rams both have like one color bleeding into another color, which is horrendous. And it's like on the numbers and it's on the seams of the pants. And just to go to the Falcons, the giant ATL across the chest, the Rams have a patch that says Los Angeles Rams, and it's in white, and it's on the bone jerseys, and none of it makes sense. Their blue ones look like there's someone just working at Best Buy, their uniform. I just don't get any of it, really. The Patriots have giant stripes on their shoulder pads. There's no real logo there, and they all just look awful. It's something like on Madden Create a Team, and those Rams bone-on-bone ones are probably worse than anything anyone could even come up with on a Madden created team. I have no idea what's going on, but I'm not a fan. I'm not looking forward to this new season and moving ahead because these uniforms are atrocious. Like, some were okay, but now it's just going to be widespread league atrocious uniforms.
Well, I'll tell you, someone that is looking forward to the up-and-coming season as I transition smoothly into who our guest is going to be this week. It is going to be defensive end Charles Harris. Played at Mizzou. We covered him there, covered his pro day. He gets selected 22nd overall by the Miami Dolphins. To say that his career there has been a disappointment, there's no way around that. I mean, he's only amassed 3 sacks in the 3 years. He really hasn't developed like a lot of people thought he would, as a top flight defensive end in this league. So he gets traded to the Atlanta Falcons for a 7th round pick. And we're going to talk to Charles about, is this his last chance? Because the Falcons have declined his 5th year option. This is his last chance. And coming, being a former 1st round pick, the expectations were high. Miami is going through a lot of transition. They still are. It's not a good organization right now. Maybe he goes to Atlantic and reignite the career. But man, we were there back in 2017. He's in the same draft class, as Patrick Mahomes. Going back to that, I remember being at his pro day. He's going to talk in the interview about being at an all-star game with Patrick Mahomes. He knows Patrick well. He's going to talk about this year. He's got to play against Mahomes, Drew Lock, his former teammate at Mizzou, Tom Brady twice, and Drew Brees twice. So he's going to get a shot against some of the best quarterbacks in the league. So it's going to be a pleasure to welcome Charles to the show, and we just hope that he can get that career going again in Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned it there. I mean, he just can't seem to get rid of Tom Brady. He thought he had left him behind when Tom moved on to the Buccaneers, and then he gets traded to the Falcons. So twice again, Tom it is. And, of course, Matt Ryan he's going to be playing with. And then there's Drew Brees. And even Teddy Bridgewater went 5-0 with the Saints last year. Now he's in Carolina, so he's going to have to face him. And, yeah, really looking to get that career back on track and try and get the Falcons to extend him, or another team in free agencies playing for all the other teams out there, too, that are going to watch this film of him this upcoming season and decide whether they want to give him a try, maybe another 1-year prove-it deal, or maybe they extend him. Maybe he has a great year, which we're hoping for, and he can get that long-term deal that he's looking for.
I just love Charles's story so much. Coming as an unranked recruit out of Lincoln Prep here in Kansas City, Missouri was his only Division I offer. He goes there, he thrives. You think about the defensive ends that were at Mizzou at the time he gets there in 2013. This is a team that went to the SEC championship game, was within 1 win away from the national title. And they had guys like Coney Ely, Marcus Golden, Shane Ray. That's some unbelievable talent there on that Missouri defensive line. So he comes up after that. You hear about the hashtag and the term D-line zoo. Charles was very much a part of that. He goes through a coaching change. Gary Pinkel retires in 2015, and Barry Odom comes in. And just we're going to talk to him about that, the system. I don't think Charles was very happy with Damani Cross's system, at least initially in 2016 at Missouri. And we'll talk to him about maybe how that impacted him. But he's, regardless, winds up being a first-round pick. So it's always great to catch up with, current players, especially in this climate. Like, what's going on? How are they doing their meetings? Charles is just coming from a meeting here, and I think most of his stuff's been online. When you get traded and you're going to a new team in a new city and you can't really be in person meeting your teammates and coaches, we'll see what Dan Quinn has in store for him in Atlanta, but that's got to be difficult just trying to fit in.
Yeah, trying to get to know your teammates. They're calling you. You're doing Zoom meetings, but it's not just as simple as normal life. When you're going into a locker room, you get to see everyone face-to-face up close. How are they doing these Zoom meetings? Is it a defensive line group? And so these are all things that go into a new player joining their team. Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, walking into the wrong house, trying to find Byron Leftwich, the offensive coordinator's house. He walks into the wrong house. And, is Charles Harris trying to go over to coaches' houses and just meeting player through Zoom meeting has to be exhausting and just a different experience for these guys.
Well, we wish nothing but the best for Mr. Harris, as we hope that he can get his career reignited there in the ATL. So without further ado, we want to bring our guest this week. It is former Mizzou defensive end, current defensive end from the Atlanta Falcons, Charles Harris. Charles, welcome to the show, my friend. How's everything going? Charles, my man, what's up, man? How's it going? Things have got to be crazy for you. The last couple weeks have been crazy. Just kind of take us through it. You get traded to Atlanta, and this happens in the middle of a time where you can't get together? You've probably done a lot of your meetings all online. What's the last couple weeks been like for you?
Actually, it's been correct. Like you said, I mean, it's actually kind of weird because normally whenever you get traded, they kind of want you there, like, immediately. You know what I mean? Like, so it's actually been kind of slow paced. It hasn't been much urgency behind it, just for the health and safety of, family and everything like that. So that has been real cool. It's been real chill about the whole, moving process and everything. So it hasn't been as, as dramatic as, I would expect, whenever you get traded. But yeah, I mean, it's not too bad.
Well, take us through this because you spent 3 years in Miami. You're the first-round pick, 22nd overall in 2017. Do you consider this an opportunity for a fresh start? Are you excited about this opportunity? What was your thinking when you got the news that you're being traded to the Falcons?
I'm elated. I'm really elated. My family actually are actually in Tifton, Georgia, so not too far away from Atlanta. I actually got married in Atlanta last year, in 2019. So I've been around, I be there all the time, and I have a lot of family down there. So they're all excited. I'm very excited. I was very elated when I got the call. It was just a great move, a really good move.
Well, you spend 3 years in Miami. You play the New England Patriots twice a year, Tom Brady, and then you move to the NFC South, and Tom Brady moves there with you. So he's now a Buccaneer. You can't get away from Tom Brady, I guess, and that's okay. You're gonna just keep hunting him down, I guess, right?
Yeah. It's competitive, so I'm excited to compete and get some new matchups.
Yes, absolutely the case. Excited to see where things go from here. Dan Quinn, your new coach, talked about how he wants to get you in there and to make you the best version of yourself. What does that mean to you? And what do you feel like that you need to work on to become a top flight defensive end in this league?
Fast, being physical, being competitive, having urgency and tenacity to get the ball, and some toughness and physicality. You know what I mean? I think it's not really a off season. Make sure you're doing your workouts and everything like that. So it's really a clear cut plan as to how you succeed in the league.
Well, can't wait to see where things go for you. I mean, the Falcons have declined your fifth year option. So do you feel like 2020? I mean, you're 25 years old, man. But in 2020, your fourth year in the league. How pivotal is this year for you? How important is this that you succeed at a high level this year?
Oh, it's very important. Not just for myself, but also for the guys that I play with. You know what I mean? And just trying to do the best that we can, and ultimately get to the ship. You know what I mean? Get to the championship. So it's that's really the whole goal, is to win. So, not just personally, me getting my own stats and my own numbers, but just also just overall just making sure that, success is something that we can leave behind. That a legacy is what's being left behind. So just going to the organization, just giving everything I got, and, we'll see about the fifth year. We'll see about that.
Well, the Falcons, clearly going all in here. For one, a uniform change. So, given the times now, where we don't have a lot to watch, a lot of sports going on, the uniform changes are dominating, people's football appetite. So new uniform changes in Atlanta. The Falcons go out and get Todd Gurley. Matt Ryan's been an incumbent there. The offense is there. The Falcons, it's time to get the defense on that level. So you're a part of that. How do you feel about, kind of the Falcons defense trying to complement this great offense? The Falcons are close to being a championship contending team, and, that's something that you're hoping to be a part of, I'm sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think, a great high-power offense, means that we should have plenty of reps on defense. So we should be fresh. We should be good to go. Down after down. So I look forward to, guys put up points, and we got to compliment them by getting 3 and outs, or getting takeaways, getting turnovers. I feel like it's very definitely fishing behind, what DQ was doing, and I'm definitely a part of it, definitely with it.
Let's take you back to your Mizzou career, because we were there, Charles, whenever we were at your pro day covering that. We were there throughout your entire career at Mizzou. You're a 2-star prospect coming out of Lincoln Prep here in Kansas City. You wind up being a 2-time All-SEC performer at the University of Missouri. Just take us through that journey for you, coming from being a basically unranked prospect. You're a 2-star guy. not a lot of Division I, prospects out there for you. You go to Mizzou. Just take us through that experience at Mizzou and how were you able to grow into the player you became?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mixture of highs and lows. Really having faith and having hope that, all the work that you put in really does pay off. Like you said, I mean, I came out of Mizzou. I mean, I came out of Kansas City from Lincoln Prep. Wasn't even a 2-star, it was a 0-star. Just didn't have no stars at all. So when they took a chance on me, at Mizzou, it was definitely an honor. I took that and ran with it. I took the opportunity and I ran with it. I obviously made it pay off. But, yeah, I mean, it's a mixture of highs and lows. I mean, it was never times where it was clear cut, like, oh, you're going to become X, Y, Z, or you're going to go to the league. It was never that kind of situation. It was always a possibility. What if I don't? What if I fail? What if I get hurt? What if this happens? What if that happens? So it was never just laid out. You know what I mean? Like a lot of other guys that have it when they come out of high school, it's kind of destined for them to be in the league or destined for them to go on to the next level. And I think that unforeseen future is what kind of drove me, propelled me to work into now, working the present. And I think that's exactly what's happening right now. I mean, right now I'm in a situation where there's no future, like you just said. Atlanta's on my 50-year option, so there's really no future ahead. But at the same time, I just got to focus and understand that the work that I put in right now, the work that I put into this season, is going to pay off somewhere, some way out, down the road. Someone's always watching. So that's kind of how my mentality is going into it, and not thinking about the future, not thinking about next year or the ifs and the buts, but just working hard in the present. And that's all you can do. Just plant the seeds of hope and wish, and wait for the day for you to reap your harvest. So.
When you get to Mizzou in 2013, Missouri, really, the term D-line zoo was made about the defensive line talent that was there at the time. You guys like Coney Ely, Shane Ray, Marcus Golden, of course. I mean, these guys were, all in the league. Of course, Shane Ray goes to Denver, Marcus Golden, now a New York Giant. Just talk about what those guys meant to you and kind of how they mentored you and kind of how you became kind of the next guy on that list.
Yeah, no doubt. When I first got to Mizzou, it was a different environment. Definitely a different environment. I know I was walking into. I just happened to walk into a great group of brothers who, all about the game. I think that's the bottom line. We all love the game. And I think that's what really drew us all together. And with us loving the game, we also knew how you're supposed to play the game. And we all kind of carried that as a standard upon our shoulders. And I think that kind of environment I was able to just really just be nurtured in it. Kind of come up in it, be raised up in it. And I think that's what kind of led to the overall success. Part of the overall success of my career was definitely those guys teaching me, whether that's technique and fundamentals or whether that's just mentality and how to react to things off the field. And I think that's kind of what helped carry me throughout my years in Mizzou. So we definitely look forward to. I always talk to them guys about us going back to Mizzou and just helping out some guys, helping out the D-line right now, getting in touch with the D-line, and just trying to create that environment again. But it's hard to do when you're not the one in the room at the same time. It doesn't have to be that for them to get those kind of results. You know what I mean? They can set their own positions, set their own cultures. It's just about whatever mentality some guys all have collectively.
Well, in the middle of your career, there's a coaching change at Mizzou. Gary Pinkel retires, and Barry Odom comes in. You play for him for 1 year. You played for, Dave Steckles, your defensive coordinator, Craig Kuligowski, the defensive line coach, and just how wonderful they were. But Damani Cross comes in as your defensive coordinator, and the team doesn't have a great season your junior year. You guys finished 4-8. And things didn't go off on a high note on the field, but you still had 9 sacks, second team All-SEC. Just talk about that coaching change and how that kind of impacted you. Was it a positive change, a negative, or you just kept doing you?
Well, I think in the present, in that time, I didn't really care for it. I really didn't care for the coaching change. I didn't like the scheme. Obviously, I was getting successful in the scheme, so I was like, keeping all the things. But I kind of realized, even like going through, before we even started the season, but we were in spring ball, implementing the whole package and everything, Monty Cross kind of set me down with it's like, yo, you're going to be successful in anything you play. It's not the scheme that makes you a great player. You're a great player within the scheme. I think him kind of setting me down and kind of making me realize that I can't be selfish and think, oh, well, last year this isn't how I did it. And him expanding my knowledge of the game, and them guys is like Coach Odom just also, being in my ear and just also keeping me positive about, you want to make plays in the scheme, you're going to make plays in the scheme. So this is a totally different scheme. We went from being an attack style, jet defense to a more read, two-gap, slow down, slow your roll, you got to read your keys type of situation. And as I look back on it in retrospect, it kind of helps me in the league. Because at the end of the day, you got two different types of defenses in the league. You got a go style, and you got a sit back, read, play your technique style. So it's just, at the same, so it kind of helped me, in the long run. But in the short term, I was kind of like, I don't really care for it. But obviously, it all paid off. And the work that Coach Autumn, the work that Devontae Cross, that they both gave me at those moments of the time, obviously paid off because I still did my thing that season.
Well, what does the University of Missouri mean to you? Because obviously they took a chance on you and you became successful there and experienced, like you said, some highs and lows. Your first 2 years, I know you redshirted that first year. Missouri wins the SEC East. Your first year really contributing, Missouri wins the East again. And then it was kind of followed by some unfortunate years. Barry Odom, is now gone from Missouri. Eli Drinkwitz is in. What does the university mean to you now? And do you feel like you will still keep up with the program kind of, down the road here?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think with me having a coaching change midway through or at the end of my career, it just goes to show that there's always be an effort on my behalf and on behalf of the university to always keep that connection and keep that bond. And just like I said, when I left Mizzou, we always talked about a pipeline, right? A pipeline to the NFL. And I also talk about the same thing with my high school, having a pipeline going to college. Creating from my high school, Lincoln Prep, which is now one of the top high schools in the state of Missouri right now, currently. And Mizzou is, raving about kids that go there and everything like that. Just creating this trend of, basically this pipeline of success. I think that's, I think even with that coaching at the end of my career, it kind of showed that I still wanted to connect with them. They wanted to connect with me. We still did events. We still, whatever I could, my personal life, I still make Mizzou as much as I could and talk to all the players, even to this day, guys that are drafted, guys that are undrafted, guys in the league, not in the league. They still know that I'm here for them, and they always still hit me up, and we always still communicate. So I think it just goes to show that it's deeper than football. Mizzou itself is deeper than football. It's just really just a badge of honor to be able to represent that university. You know what I mean? Not just from a athletic standpoint, but also from an educational standpoint. You know what I mean? And like I said, friends who are athletes, friends who are not athletes are still my friends to this day. So I think me going to Mizzou, it's truly just a great opportunity. It really is a great university just for the state of Missouri to go up there and, as the motto is in Missouri, to show me. Show me how bad you want to get to wherever you want to get to. Show me how bad you want to, how much are you willing to give to succeed. And I think that's kind of what Mizzou kind of presents to all of the students, all of the student athletes. And, I think I took full-fledged advantage of it. Like I said, my speech going to the league, I feel like I exhausted all my resources when I was at Mizzou. I feel like I couldn't go back to Mizzou for another year and get better. That's kind of how I looked at it. I feel like I took advantage of all those opportunities. So I think that's just the goal of any student athlete, whenever you go to any university, especially University of Missouri, just to exhaust all your resources.
Well, Charles, let's just pretend that things are going to go off as planned. The NFL and football is going to go ahead as scheduled. Because personally, I hope that's the case, as we all do. So 2020, man, you're going to get your first crack at your old teammate Drew Lock and Patrick Mahomes here in Kansas City. So talk about Drew as a teammate and kind of how you've seen him grow in his short time in Denver. And then here in Kansas City, your hometown, Patrick Mahomes comes in, wins a Super Bowl for the Chiefs, and you're going to get a chance to play against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs as well. You're going to get a chance to chase down two pretty quality quarterbacks here this year, man, in addition to Tom Brady twice. So it's going to be this could be fun, right?
Yeah, we definitely got a quarterback drawing sketches. That's for sure. We definitely got sacks there. We definitely got sacks there. But, no, not on that behalf. I don't say that, to downplay those guys or like that. But hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a great opportunity. Drew himself, when he first came in, he was kind of, quiet on the quiet side, more about action, didn't really speak that much. And even the same on my last year, he didn't really say much, but he was led by example. And that's something I always admired about him, because that's kind of how I lived when I was at Mizzou. I kind of led by example, but then I kind of had to be forced into the role of, being this, more, what do you call it, more, talkative individual or talkative leader.
A vocal leader, yeah.
And that's kind of what I assumed. That's kind of my advice to Drew when I was actually leaving as well. It's kind of like, you have to assume the role of being more talkative. Like, it's just that simple. Like, no one else is going to step up and not only be able to command with action, but also be able to back it up. Not only command with words, but also be able to back it up with action. I kind of told Drew the same thing. That's kind of where things are going, especially when I had left. So he definitely took it and ran with it, because when I left Mizzou, it was nothing but rave reviews about, his locker room presence, his leadership on and up, and things of that nature. So it's definitely great always seeing guys who went to school with or went to play ball with in the league as well. So I look forward to seeing Drew. Sure, I definitely look forward to seeing Drew, but ain't no love lost there. When we lined up, it ain't no buddy, hey, what's up? before the game, it's hey, what's up? But then, during the game, it's over with. So that's kind of my mentality going in facing Drew. The same with Pat. I actually knew Pat before we actually both got drafted. Went to an All-Star game down in Dallas, Texas at the Cowboy Stadium, and obviously he balled out and flung the ball in that performance. And I think I got like third place out of all. The lineman over there kept being our little drills, whatever. But yeah, Pat, he's a great guy as well, and he's a great quality individual. And for guys to be so shocked, at his performance, as success, it's almost something you sit back and laugh about. It's almost something you sit back and laugh about. It's like, I've been seeing this. We was at the All-Star game. I'm like, okay, he's a little different. And it's just great seeing him come along. And same with being in Kansas City. We got to perform in front of my city. I feel like every time I go back to the city, I feel like it's my stadium. So I look forward to that matchup.
Well, we will see you here in late December, of course. Last thing, Charles. I mean, when you're talking with your coaches, or you're kind of having these meetings, or you're doing kind of things on Zoom, or the way that things are going now, it's kind of crazy. I mean, are they talking about that we're planning on going on that we're going to make this happen? I mean, what is your thoughts? I mean, when it comes September 10th, are you guys lining up and playing football? I mean, that's the main thing here, right? We want that to happen.
So we kind of in the house like everyone else. So we have like NFLPA, like medical doctors that speak to us players, trying to give us the real facts to see on TV. But for the most part, I mean, there's no clear-cut decision as to what's going on. I really feel like the NFL is kind of sitting back and watching the other leagues and see how they kind of go about things and the measures that they take, which is definitely smart. But at the same time, it's different. Football is different. It's a little more, it's a lot more individuals, a lot more bodies, a lot more contact, for sure, versus other sports. But yeah, I mean, I'm not for sure about what's going to happen. Hopefully, we all can get back to playing and things like that. So, I mean, right now, obviously, we ain't got no OTAs or anything like that, which is unfortunate. Especially guys in my situation where I got traded. I haven't even been able to really shake a hand to any of my brothers yet. But obviously, I'm taking necessary steps to call each one of them on Zoom and to kind of have personal conversations. But I think it's also kind of the benefit of it. You're able to get to know guys personally, or deeper, during a time like this, and you get to actually motivate one another, communicate about what's going on in your situation or our situation, and I think there's always beauty in the darkness, so I think that's something that's definitely being seen right now.
Charles, thanks so much for joining us, man, taking the time. It's been a few years. We were there, like I said, at Mizzou's Pro Day in 2017 covering you, and it's going to be a pleasure to continue watching you grow as a player. You got a lot of people cheering for you from Kansas City, from Mizzou, from all over the place, man. So make this one count. Best of luck going forward, and thanks a lot, my friend. We'll catch up again soon.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Thank you, man.
You bet. Thanks, Charles. Well, there you hear it. Charles is excited to strap it up and go against his former teammate, Drew Lock. He said there'll be no love lost on the field, no buddy-buddy when he takes on Drew. He was able to meet Patrick Mahomes in 2017 at an all-star game kind of before the draft, so he's very familiar with him. And like you mentioned, Tom Brady is back in his life. He played against him 6 times, and you know what? The Dolphins had decent success against the Patriots during those years, even if the team itself wasn't very good. The 2 different years in 18 and 19, the Dolphins beating the Patriots gave the Chiefs the 1 seed in 18 and the 2 seed in 2019. And really, that's what really propelled the Chiefs to winning the Super Bowl, getting home field advantage, being able to beat the Texans and Titans instead of having to go on the road. It would have been a much more difficult journey for the Chiefs. So great to catch up with Charles Harris. And we're just excited. We asked him, what are you hearing? Do you think this is going to happen, as scheduled? Charles says he doesn't know, but, everything he's hearing, they're just proceeding as if it's happening until it isn't.
Yeah, proceeding as if it's happening. And if it does, will there be fans? And if there aren't fans, what are your thoughts? I'm throwing it back to you on the piping in the crowd noise and digitized fans? Are you going to be good with that? It's going to be like a Madden game in the stands.
Yeah, so many people you see online, the online streams of Madden and NCAA Football 14 all over the place on Facebook and in social media during these times. And it's like, I guess people are going to have to get used to that. I think that I remember having this same thought whenever I was watching WrestleMania last month. WrestleMania, which is the grandest spectacle. Every year it's in a large stadium, and it's just on this huge scale, massive attendance, usually over 60,000 people there. And in this year, it was in an empty performance center. It took away all the luster. It didn't feel like WrestleMania. It didn't feel like it mattered. And I remember thinking at the time, I think I even said something to you, like, can we just put digital fans in there and make it look like a stadium? I mean, you see it all the time. And in movies and stuff where they have 200 extras in a stadium shooting a football movie, and they're able to digitize that into a full stadium. I guess if that's what it's going to have to be, I'll get on board with it. It'll be interesting to see what it would look like. I mean, to know that the players in the stadium are hearing just silence, and we're seeing this kind of fake constructed atmosphere. We'll have to see how it goes, but I guess I'm for it if it means football happens and happens on time.
Yeah, I'm a little leery of the digitized fans and how that'll look, if it'll be cheesy and take away from the product. Like, what in the world is that? But the piped-in crowd noise, I'm all for. Whether it's happening in the stadium, I'm guessing probably not. That's just something Fox Sports and CBS, ESPN, NBC will do. If others, and it'll be weird if only Fox Sports does it and others don't do it. So depending on what game you're watching, it's not happening. So there's a lot to go into this, and a lot of questions that I have with it, and to see how it works. And is this something that they would try week 1 and then week 2 change and alter it because it's weird, like the fans in the stands? Maybe they get rid of those after trying it for 1 week. But it's definitely interesting. Something I never thought I'd have to talk about or realize. Like, I remember talking about it in Madden, like, oh, the fans don't look real. Hopefully, like in new iterations going forward, they make them look more real and real. But to think about it actually happening for a real game, real games that count in the NFL, is just something that I can't even really fathom right now, but apparently it's going to happen.
Well, you better fathom it, because we're going to be taking our green screen photo caps here anytime to be a part of some of these NFL crowds. I'm excited about that. And I hope that you're excited about what we're doing here on the Elite Sports Podcast, because during this crazy time, these last 2 months, we're trying to provide you just a little bit of a slice of distraction during your week. We're trying to bring on guests, trying to keep engaged with the sporting universe. And I hope that you're still, staying engaged with us here on the podcast. So hit that subscribe button, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, or Spotify. And as always, hit us up on our website, GASNsports.com. That is the Great American Sports Network. We always thank you for your star ratings and reviews on iTunes. So continue to do that. We're going to keep the interviews coming, because during this time, it's important that, we stay in touch with some of our friends in the sporting world, and that we are able to keep you abreast of what's going on. And kind of from an athlete's point of view, a lot of fans and a lot of people can spout off about how they think there will or won't be football. No sports in 2020. Yes, start it up. The SEC, the campuses are opening. Let's go. California says no. SEC says yes. You know what? We try to bring on people that are actually in the trenches and involved in sports in one way or another. So we thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week once again here on the Elite Sports Podcast.